Hello there. Let's talk about something that touches the lives of so many of us as we navigate our later years. Medicare. Perhaps you've recently celebrated that milestone birthday, the big 6-5, and your mailbox has suddenly become a repository for what feels like an avalanche of information. Brochures, letters, official-looking documents, all talking about healthcare coverage. Or maybe you've been enrolled in Medicare for some time now, but you're starting to wonder if the coverage you have is truly meeting your needs, especially as health concerns naturally become a bit more prominent in our thoughts. You might find yourself looking at explanations of benefits, trying to decipher the codes and the costs, and feeling a nagging sense of uncertainty. Does this sound familiar? That feeling of being slightly adrift in a sea of acronyms: Part A, Part B, deductibles, co-insurance, co-payments. It's a remarkably common experience, and you are certainly not alone if you feel a little overwhelmed by it all. Medicare, specifically what we often call Original Medicare, that's Part A, which generally covers hospital stays, and Part B, which covers doctor visits and other outpatient services, is undoubtedly a cornerstone of healthcare for seniors in America. It provides a vital safety net, ensuring access to necessary medical care. We rely on it, and for good reason. However, it's crucial to understand that Original Medicare was never designed to cover everything. Think of it as a strong foundation, but one with certain gaps in its structure. These gaps represent costs that you are typically responsible for paying out of pocket. There's the Part A deductible for hospital stays, which can be quite substantial if you need inpatient care. There's the Part B deductible, an annual amount you pay before Part B starts covering its share. And then there are the co-insurance costs, usually 20% of the Medicare-approved amount for most doctor services, outpatient therapy, and durable medical equipment under Part B. While 20% might not sound like a huge number initially, imagine the costs associated with a serious illness, a major surgery, or ongoing treatment for a chronic condition. That 20% can add up very, very quickly, potentially running into thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in a single year. There might also be co-payments for certain services. Furthermore, Original Medicare generally doesn't cover care received outside the United States, which is something to consider if you enjoy traveling. Facing these potential out-of-pocket expenses can be a significant source of worry, can't it? Especially when many of us are living on fixed incomes during retirement. The unpredictability is often the hardest part. You can budget for regular expenses, housing, food, utilities, but a sudden health issue can throw even the most careful financial plans into disarray. You might find yourself thinking, what if I have a bad fall? Or what if I'm diagnosed with something that requires extensive treatment? These what-ifs can loom large, creating anxiety that detracts from enjoying the very retirement you've worked so hard for. Perhaps you've heard stories from friends or neighbors who faced unexpected, large medical bills despite having Medicare. Maybe you've personally experienced a situation where the cost-sharing left you feeling financially strained. It's completely understandable to feel concerned about protecting your savings and ensuring you can always afford the care you need without hesitation or fear of the resulting bills. The desire for financial predictability and peace of mind when it comes to health care is universal, and it becomes even more pronounced as we age. We want to know that if something happens, we're protected, that a health crisis won't also become a devastating financial crisis. This is precisely where Medicare Supplement insurance, often called Medigap, comes into the picture. The name itself, Medigap, is quite descriptive. These plans are specifically designed to fill in those financial gaps left open by Original Medicare Parts A and B. Think of a Medigap policy as a partner to your Original Medicare. It works alongside it, picking up some or even most of the costs that Medicare doesn't cover, like those deductibles, co-insurance amounts, and co-payments we just discussed. Medigap policies are sold by private insurance companies, but critically, they are standardized by federal and state laws. This standardization is meant to simplify things for you, the consumer. It means that a Medigap Plan G, for example, must offer the exact same basic benefits regardless of which insurance company sells it. A Plan G from Company X will cover the same Medicare gaps as a Plan G from Company Y. This allows you to compare plans based primarily on cost, the monthly premium, and the reputation of the insurance company, rather than getting lost in confusing variations of coverage for the same lettered plan. Now, while the standardization helps, the sheer number of options can still feel daunting. You'll hear about Plan F, though availability for new enrollees is limited, Plan G, Plan N, and several others, Plans A, B, C, D, K, L, M. Each lettered plan represents a different combination of covered gaps. Some plans offer very comprehensive coverage, picking up nearly all the out-of-pocket costs, while others might require you to pay some expenses, like the Part B deductible or certain co-payments, in exchange for a lower monthly premium. Choosing the right Medigap plan isn't a one-size-fits-all decision. It involves carefully considering your individual health status, your budget, your tolerance for potential out-of-pocket costs versus paying a higher premium upfront, and even your plans for the future. Do you travel frequently? Do you have chronic conditions that require regular specialist visits? Are you generally healthy but want robust protection against unforeseen major expenses? These are the kinds of questions we need to explore. Making this choice feels significant because it is. It directly impacts both your healthcare access and your financial well-being for potentially many years to come. The good news is that you don't have to navigate this alone, and it is possible to make an informed decision that brings you genuine peace of mind. The goal of our conversation today, unfolding over the next while, is to demystify this process. We're going to break it down, step by step. In our next chapter, we will delve deeply into the specifics of the different standardized Medigap plans that are most commonly available. We'll look closely at what each plan covers and what costs you might still be responsible for. We'll compare the high-coverage options like Plan G with plans like Plan N that involve some cost sharing. Following that, in our final chapter, we'll focus squarely on you, exploring the crucial factors you should weigh when making your personal decision. We'll discuss how to assess your health needs, not just for today, but looking ahead. We'll talk about budgeting for premiums and potential out-of-pocket costs. We'll cover the best time to enroll to ensure you have guaranteed acceptance rights, known as your Medigap Open Enrollment Period. And we'll discuss how to compare policies from different insurance companies effectively. Consider this our roadmap. We're starting here, acknowledging the landscape and the challenges, and together, we'll chart a course toward clarity and confidence in choosing the Medigap plan that best suits your unique circumstances. The aim isn't just to give you information, but to empower you to make a choice that feels right, secure, and sustainable for you. All right, now that we've established why you might want or need a Medicare Supplement plan to bridge those financial gaps in Original Medicare and gain peace of mind, let's roll up our sleeves and look more closely at the specific options available to you. As we touched upon, these plans are standardized. Remember that key point. A Plan G from one company offers the same basic medical benefits as a Plan G from another company. This standardization is your friend. It allows us to compare apples to apples, focusing on the coverage structure and then later on cost and company service. While there are several lettered plans, A, B, C, D, F, G, KLMN, most people enrolling today find themselves primarily choosing between two main contenders, Plan G and Plan N. We'll also briefly touch upon Plan F for context, as you might hear about it, especially from friends who enrolled some years ago. Let's start with what is often considered the most comprehensive option available to new Medicare beneficiaries today, Medigap Plan G. Think of Plan G as providing very broad coverage, picking up most of the costs that original Medicare leaves behind. What exactly does it cover? Well, it covers your Part A deductible. That's the significant amount you'd otherwise pay if you were admitted to the hospital. Knowing this is covered can provide immense relief, as hospital stays can arise unexpectedly and involve substantial initial costs. Plan G also covers the coinsurance for hospital stays under Part A, as well as the costs for the first 3 pints of blood if needed. It covers the Part A hospice care coinsurance or copayment and the skilled nursing facility care coinsurance. These are all potentially significant expenses related to more serious health events. Perhaps most importantly for many people, Plan G covers the Part B coinsurance. Remember the 20% you'd typically owe for doctor visits, outpatient procedures, diagnostic tests, durable medical equipment, and many other services covered under Part B. Plan G pays this 20% for you. This is a huge benefit. Imagine needing ongoing specialist appointments, physical therapy, or even something costly like chemotherapy treatments, which fall under Part B. That 20% could rapidly escalate into unmanageable bills. With Plan G, once Medicare Part B pays its 80%, Plan G steps in to cover the remaining 20% of the Medicare-approved amount. This provides incredible protection against unpredictable and potentially catastrophic outpatient costs. Plan G also covers foreign travel emergency care up to plan limits, which is a nice bonus if you travel outside the U.S. Now, what does Plan G not cover? There's really only one main gap it doesn't fill: the annual Part B deductible. This is the amount you must pay out of pocket for Part B services each year before Medicare, and thus Plan G, for the coinsurance part, starts paying its share. For 2024, this deductible is $240. Once you've paid that $240 out of pocket for services like doctor visits or tests during the calendar year, Plan G works alongside Medicare Part B to cover virtually all your remaining approved outpatient costs for the rest of the year. So, the appeal of Plan G lies in its predictability and robust protection. After you meet that relatively small, known Part B deductible each year, you face very few, if any, additional out-of-pocket costs for Medicare-covered services. Let's picture someone. We'll call her Mary. Mary chose Plan G because she valued knowing exactly what her healthcare costs would be, aside from her monthly premium. She has a couple of chronic conditions requiring regular specialist visits. Early in the year, through these visits, she meets her $240 Part B deductible. A few months later, she unfortunately has a fall and needs outpatient surgery followed by several weeks of physical therapy. The bills for the surgeon, the facility fee, and the therapy sessions are substantial. Because Mary has Plan G, after Medicare paid its 80%, her Plan G paid the remaining 20% coinsurance. Her only medical out-of-pocket cost for all that care, beyond her premiums, was the $240 deductible she had already met. For Mary, the slightly higher premium for Plan G was worth the peace of mind and the protection from large, unexpected bills. She didn't have to worry about the cost when seeking necessary care. The downside, Plan G generally has a higher monthly premium compared to some other Medigap options because it offers such comprehensive coverage. Now, let's turn our attention to another very popular option, Medigap Plan N. Plan N is attractive because it typically comes with a lower monthly premium than Plan G, but it still offers significant coverage for major health expenses. Like Plan G, Plan N covers the Part A hospital deductible, Part A hospital coinsurance, blood, hospice cost sharing, and skilled nursing facility coinsurance. It also covers the crucial Part B coinsurance, that potentially large 20%, but with a couple of important exceptions. Here's where Plan N differs from Plan G. First, like Plan G, Plan N does not cover the annual Part B deductible. You'll still pay that $240 in 2024 out of pocket each year before coverage kicks in fully. Second, after you've met your Part B deductible, Plan N requires you to pay a small copayment for some healthcare services. Specifically, you might pay up to $20 for certain office visits, like visiting your primary care doctor or a specialist, and up to $50 for emergency room visits if you aren't admitted to the hospital. If you go to the ER and they decide to admit you as an inpatient, that $50 copay is waived. These copays are relatively small and predictable, but they are an out-of-pocket expense you wouldn't have with Plan G. The third key difference involves something called Part B excess charges. These are additional amounts, up to 15% above the Medicare-approved amount, that doctors are legally allowed to charge if they do not accept assignment. Accepting assignment means the doctor agrees to accept the Medicare-approved amount as full payment. Most doctors in the U.S. do accept assignment, making excess charges relatively uncommon. However, they can occur, particularly with certain specialists. Plan G covers these excess charges. Plan N does not. This means if you have Plan N and see a doctor who doesn't accept assignment, you could be responsible for paying that extra 15% charge yourself, in addition to any applicable copay and the Part B deductible. It's worth noting that some states actually prohibit doctors from billing excess charges, making this less of a concern depending on where you live and receive care. So, Plan N offers a trade-off. You get a lower monthly premium compared to Plan G, but you take on responsibility for the small office visit and ER copayments, and the potential, though often rare, risk of Part B excess charges. Let's consider John. John is generally healthy, visits the doctor maybe 2 or 3 times a year for checkups or minor issues, and rarely uses the emergency room. He looked at the premium difference between Plan G and Plan N and decided the monthly savings with Plan N were significant enough to be worthwhile. He pays his $20 copay when he sees his doctor after meeting his annual Part B deductible. One year, he needed an unexpected outpatient procedure. After meeting his deductible, Plan N covered the 20% Part B coinsurance for that costly procedure, just like Plan G would have, saving him potentially thousands. The copays he pays are far less than the premium savings he enjoys throughout the year. He did check that his main doctors accept Medicare assignment, minimizing his risk of excess charges. For John, Plan N strikes the right balance between premium cost and coverage. However, if someone anticipates very frequent doctor visits, those $20 copays could add up, potentially eroding the premium savings compared to Plan G. What about Plan F? You might still hear this mentioned frequently. For many years, Plan F was the most popular plan because it covered everything, including the Part B deductible. With Plan F, you typically had 0 out-of-pocket costs for Medicare-approved services. However, due to a change in federal law, MACRA, Plan F and the similar Plan C is no longer available to individuals who became eligible for Medicare on or after January 1, 2020. If you were eligible for Medicare before that date, you might still be able to enroll in Plan F, or if you already have it, you can keep it. For those newly eligible, Plan G is essentially the new, most comprehensive option, differing from the old Plan F primarily by not covering the Part B deductible. There's also a high-deductible version of Plan G, and previously F, where you pay all Medicare cost-sharing up to a certain high-deductible amount each year, in exchange for a very low premium. But these are less common choices. And the other plans, like K, L, and M, these typically involve more significant cost-sharing than G or N. For instance, plans K and L require you to pay a percentage of certain costs, like Part B coinsurance, until you reach an annual out-of-pocket maximum. They have lower premiums but expose you to potentially higher costs during the year if you need a lot of care, though they do cap your total annual out-of-pocket spending. Plan M shares similarities with G and N but covers only 50% of the Part A deductible. These plans might be suitable for individuals who are comfortable with more cost-sharing in exchange for lower premiums, but Plan G and Plan N remain the most common choices for robust, predictable coverage. One absolutely critical advantage shared by all standardized Medigap plans, G, N, F, etc., is network freedom. This is a major point of distinction compared to many Medicare Advantage plans. With a Medigap policy complementing your original Medicare, you can see any doctor or visit any hospital in the United States that accepts Medicare patients. There are no restrictive networks forcing you to choose from a limited list of providers. If your trusted family doctor accepts Medicare, you can see them. If you need to see a top specialist in another city or state, and they accept Medicare, your Medigap plan works alongside Medicare to cover your care according to the plan's benefits. This freedom is invaluable, especially if you travel within the U.S., have established relationships with specific doctors, or want the reassurance that you can access the best care available to you wherever that may be, as long as they participate in Medicare. You don't need referrals to see specialists either. This simplicity and broad access are fundamental benefits of the Medigap approach. Understanding these core differences between the most popular plans, primarily Plan G with its comprehensive coverage, minus the Part B deductible, and higher premium, and Plan N with its lower premium but added co-pays and no excess charge coverage, lays the groundwork. You can see how each plan structure offers a different balance of upfront cost, premium, versus potential back-end costs, deductibles, co-pays. Neither is inherently better than the other. They simply suit different needs and preferences. Now that we have a clearer picture of what these plans do and how they differ, we can move into the final crucial step: figuring out how to choose the one that aligns best with your personal health situation, your budget, and your priorities for the future. That's exactly what we'll explore together in our concluding chapter. So, here we are. We've journeyed together through the landscape of Medicare Supplement insurance, exploring why these Medigap plans exist, and delving into the details of some of the most popular choices you'll likely encounter. It can feel like a lot to absorb, I know. The world of insurance, with its specific terms and different options, often seems designed to be complex. But my hope is that by breaking it down piece by piece, the path forward feels clearer, less intimidating, and ultimately more manageable for you. Let's take a moment to gather the threads of our conversation and reflect on what we've learned, ensuring the key takeaways are fresh in our minds as you contemplate your own best course of action. We started by acknowledging a fundamental truth. Original Medicare, Parts A and B, while absolutely essential, doesn't cover all your healthcare costs. There are gaps: the Part A hospital deductible, the Part B annual deductible, and perhaps most significantly, the 20% coinsurance for most outpatient services under Part B. We recognized that these gaps aren't just small cracks. They can represent substantial, unpredictable out-of-pocket expenses, especially if you face a serious illness or injury. This potential for large, unforeseen medical bills is a common source of anxiety for many seniors, understandably casting a shadow over retirement years that should ideally be focused on well-being and enjoyment, not financial worry about health care. The core purpose, the very reason Medigap plans exist, is to fill these specific financial gaps left by original Medicare. They act as a crucial bridge, providing a safety net that smooths out those potentially jarring costs. We then explored the landscape of Medigap plans themselves, focusing on the principle of standardization. Remember, this is incredibly helpful. A Plan G sold by one company must, by law, offer the same fundamental medical benefits as a Plan G from any other company. The same holds true for Plan N or any other standardized lettered plan. This levels the playing field significantly, allowing you to compare different companies' offerings of the same plan based primarily on their monthly premium cost, their reputation for customer service, and their financial stability, rather than getting bogged down in confusing variations of core coverage. We looked closely at the two most common choices for new Medicare beneficiaries today, Plan G and Plan N. Plan G emerged as the most comprehensive option readily available, covering nearly all the gaps we discussed. The Part A deductible, Part A and B coinsurance, skilled nursing coinsurance, hospice cost sharing, and even foreign travel emergencies up to plan limits. Its only significant omission is the annual Part B deductible, that relatively modest amount, $240 in 2024, you pay once per year for outpatient services. For many, the appeal of Plan G is its profound predictability. Once that Part B deductible is met, your Medicare-covered healthcare costs for the rest of the year are essentially handled between original Medicare and Plan G, offering immense peace of mind, albeit typically at a higher monthly premium. Then we examined Plan N, an alternative that often comes with a lower monthly premium. Plan N still provides excellent coverage for major expenses, covering the Part A deductible and the critical Part B coinsurance. However, it introduces a few elements of cost sharing. Like Plan G, you're responsible for the annual Part B deductible. Additionally, with Plan N, you'll typically pay small co-payments for doctor's office visits, up to $20, and emergency room visits that don't result in hospital admission, up to $50 after your deductible is met. Plan N also doesn't cover Part B excess charges, those extra amounts certain doctors who don't accept Medicare assignment might bill, though this is uncommon in many areas and avoidable by choosing doctors who do accept assignment. Plan N represents a trade-off: lower monthly premium in exchange for predictable small copays and the minor risk of excess charges. It can be a very suitable and cost-effective option for those comfortable with this structure. And critically, woven through our discussion of these plans was the immense benefit shared by all Medigap policies: network freedom. With original Medicare plus a Medigap plan, you retain the ability to see any doctor, specialist, or hospital anywhere in the country that accepts Medicare patients. There are no restrictive networks dictating where you can seek care. This freedom and flexibility is a cornerstone of the Medigap system and a primary reason why many people choose this path over other options like Medicare Advantage plans, especially if they value choice of providers, travel frequently, or need access to specialized care. Now, stepping back from the specific plan details, let's consider the broader perspective. Choosing a Medigap plan isn't just about comparing benefits charts and premium costs. It's about making a conscious decision to invest in your future health security and your financial peace of mind. It's about looking ahead, acknowledging that while you might be healthy today, life and health can be unpredictable. Having robust coverage in place before you need it can transform a potentially stressful health event into something far more manageable, allowing you to focus your energy on recovery, not on deciphering bills or worrying about how you'll afford necessary care. Think about the feeling of security that comes with knowing you're protected. Imagine facing an unexpected diagnosis or needing a sudden procedure, and having the confidence that the financial side is largely taken care of. That reduction in worry, that ability to say yes to the care your doctor recommends without hesitation about cost, that's the real value proposition here. It frees up mental and emotional energy, contributing significantly to your overall quality of life in retirement. This isn't just about avoiding debt. It's about preserving your well-being on multiple levels. Making an informed choice now is an act of self-care, a way of proactively managing one aspect of aging that can otherwise feel overwhelming. So, how do you move forward from here? How do you translate this understanding into a personal decision? First, take a deep breath. You don't need to rush. Give yourself time to reflect on your own circumstances. Consider your current health. Do you have chronic conditions that require frequent doctor visits or specialist care? If so, the predictability of Plan G, despite its higher premium, might be very appealing. Or are you generally healthy, primarily seeking protection against major, unexpected events? In that case, the lower premium of Plan N, with its manageable copays, might be a better fit. Think honestly about your budget. How comfortable are you with the monthly premium associated with each plan? Remember to factor in the annual Part B deductible, $240 for 2024, with both Plan G and N. If considering Plan N, think about how often you typically visit the doctor. Will those $20 copays add up significantly for you, potentially offsetting the premium savings? Also, consider your tolerance for risk. Are you comfortable with the small possibility of encountering Part B excess charges with Plan N? Remembering you can mitigate this by checking if your doctors accept assignment. Or do you prefer the certainty of Plan G covering those charges? There's no single right answer. It's about what aligns best with your financial situation and your personal comfort level with potential out-of-pocket costs versus fixed premiums. Crucially, remember the importance of timing, especially your Medigap open enrollment period. This is the 6-month window that starts the month you turn 65 and are enrolled in Medicare Part B. During this period, you have guaranteed acceptance rights. Insurance companies cannot deny you coverage or charge you a higher premium based on your health history. Outside of this period, or certain other limited, guaranteed issue situations, like losing employer coverage, getting a Medigap policy can be more difficult and potentially more expensive, or you could even be denied coverage based on pre-existing conditions. So, if you're approaching or currently in this window, now is the ideal time to make your choice. Don't hesitate to seek out reliable resources. Your State Health Insurance Assistance Program, SHIP, offers free, unbiased counseling from trained volunteers who can help you understand your specific options in your state. They are not affiliated with any insurance company, and their goal is simply to help you navigate the Medicare maze. Comparing quotes from different insurance companies for the same lettered plan, like Plan G or Plan N, is also essential, as premiums can vary significantly between companies, even for identical coverage. Look at the company's reputation, their history of rate increases, and customer service reviews as well. Making this decision is an act of empowerment. By understanding your options, assessing your needs, and choosing a plan that fits, you are taking control of a vital aspect of your future. You are laying a foundation for greater security and less worry. It might seem like just another administrative task, but the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have solid healthcare coverage tailored to your needs is truly invaluable. It allows you to approach your health proactively, to build strong relationships with your chosen doctors, and to live your retirement years with greater confidence and security. So, move forward with the knowledge that you can navigate this. You have the capacity to understand these choices and select the Medigap plan that will serve you best. It's about finding that balance point between comprehensive protection and affordable premiums that allows you to sleep soundly at night, knowing that when it comes to Medicare-covered healthcare costs, you've got a strong partner working alongside your original Medicare, protecting both your health and your hard-earned savings. Choosing wisely now is a gift you give to your future self, ensuring you can face whatever lies ahead with greater reassurance and focus on living well.